the truth is, and it sucks, I hate it, but if you're in a place where you still want to have kids and you're late 30s, 35 to early 40s, and you want to have kids, and these guys are right around your same age, they know they have a lot of time.
Yep.
They know they have a lot of time.
Yep.
And so they'll tell me they usually don't want to date women around that age because they don't want to rush.
Yeah, she's talking about women in her 30s. So her whole point is she's trying to give advice actually to women in their 30s, and she's totally right. I'm down with her on this because she's telling women in their 30s, don't waste your time with men in your 30s who are also in their 30s because they're not in the same life phase as you. These guys are going for younger women, right? 2 or 10 years younger. So they, she's going to tell, I guarantee she's going to tell these women to date older, which I would say too. Date much older if you want to have a shot at anything.
They know they have a lot of time.
Yep.
And so they'll tell me they usually don't want to date women around that age because they don't want to rush.
Yeah.
So
that's another thing is you notice that when you start dating a woman in her 30s, especially her early 30s, the number one thing on her mind, if you've ever dated an early 30s woman, is having kids. That's the number one goal of hers now in her early 30s. She wants to have kids, right? So a lot of guys in their early 30s, if they made it that far without kids, that's definitely not on their mind yet, right? And if they do that, they want it with somebody who's going to be in their 20s still, not somebody who's their age.
Yeah, it does make it more complicated, but it's not impossible. But I would encourage you to go older because the guys that are going to be older, who hopefully haven't had kids yet, are going to be more motivated to be on the same timeline you are. Whereas guys around your own age, they're not in a rush. They don't have to rush.
True, they don't. I mean, especially if these guys are, like I said, in their early 30s, your focus at that point, if you haven't had kids already, is really the reason why is you're probably chasing your career, building a business, trying to make your money, trying to stake your claim in the world, and that is your focus. It's not kids yet. You know you could have kids later, right? You could have kids all the way till you're 80 years old. Most guys will have kids before then, obviously, but you're not in a rush. Whereas women who are your age, who are your peers that you went to high school with, if you're both like, say, 33 years old, she wants children now. You know, she knows that her eggs are drying up. She's going to lose her eggs in a few years. So she knows it's crunch time, man. You know, she knows she's in sudden death overtime, baby. And she has to get something. She has to put one in the end zone.
But they'll date you. They'll date you and they'll waste those years.
Yeah, they'll date you, right? She's based, right? She's speaking the truth there, ladies. They will date you and they won't do anything else. Basically, they'll just have sex with you.
That you should be spending on being more more thoughtful about and strategic about who you're dating. So it always does worry me just because for so many years and so many guys telling me this stuff behind the scenes that I just wouldn't, if I was a woman, wanting kids and wanting to start, I would not waste time on guys right around my age. I just wouldn't, because I know how they are.
Right? Yeah. She knows how they are. At that age, she knows how they are, right? Different story if you both met 10 years earlier in your early 20s. That would be a different story because the guys at that age who do knock you up, like who get married, who want to marry you and then have kids with you, those are the types that want to settle down and have families right away too. So those guys, that is the time to have those kids. That's why I keep telling you, ladies, have your kids early if that's what you want to do. Because if you wait 10 years later into your 30s and then you try to hook up with a guy who's also your age in his 30s, which kind of makes sense, right? Yeah, I'm in my 30s, he's in his 30s. Those guys who are still left over in their 30s they're like me, right? I never had kids, so I remember how I was in my early 30s. I wanted to make money. The reason why I didn't have a family yet was I wanted to make that paper, right? I wanted to make dough. I wanted to build a business. I wanted to get rich. I wanted to become successful. That was my primary motivation for still being single in my 30s, right? So you're going to deal with these type of guys.
And I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's a long shot. And if I didn't have a
Big
lot
long
of time
shot.
to fool around, I would not waste time on a long shot. That's my opinion.
There you go, right? So best advice would be, if you want to have kids, date a guy who is a bit older, right? At least 10 years older, maybe in his mid-40s, maybe even his mid-50s. Because that guy will probably want to have a family with you. You're much younger than him. And he'll probably want to do something long-term with you. But if you find some guy who's your age, that's in his early 30s, no, that guy wants to grind. He wants to hustle. Like most early 30s guys in their early 30s, including myself. There was no way in my early 30s I was going to settle down with anybody. No.
I read a comment yesterday where someone claimed that dating in your 30s is easier. I have a mixed view on this. For men, it definitely is easier. And
Yep.
this comes from testimonial from a lot of my guy friends and guys that I've gone on dates with, where they told me that in their 20s, it's actually really hard to compete on the apps because women are looking for more mature men who are ready to settle down. But once they hit their 30s, the pool of women just opens up to them. Unfortunately, what this means
What
is
have I
that
told
it
you guys?
flips for women,
Yep.
at least in my experience. I have had so many things thrown at me about, oh, why are you in your 30s and still dating?
Right.
And that is very gender specific. That is
Yeah, she said it right here, guys. Gender specific. It's gender specific to women. Like, why are you still dating? Why are you still single? It's a fair question, right? I mean, you could ask guys this. It's a fair question as well. But especially for women, because they only have a limited amount of time to have children before their eggs dry up, and then they can't have children, right? Or, it starts to get very dangerous to try to have children.
not something that a guy who is my age, aka like under 35 but over 30, would get those comments, but women all the time get those comments. The other thing is, just practically speaking, the pool of eligible people declines as you get older. So for women, you're already having to date older, generally speaking.
Yeah, the pool starts to decline. She needs to mention this for women. For men, the pool gets bigger. I have told you guys this. As you get older, you're able to date across generations. It's insane, right? You're able to date. You'll have access to multi-generations of women to choose from, right? And mostly you're going to choose the youngest, right? The youngest generation. But at my age, I have access to, even my parents' generation, the boomers. I would never go there. Gross, right? But I also have access to boomers, Gen Xers, that's my generation, Generation X, millennials, and the current generation, which is Generation Z. Call them Zoomers. But as a guy, you're going to have this immense amount of options when it comes to dating. Whereas for women, it really does shrink. It really does shrink, right? They're not going to have options to, multi-generations like we do. Sure, sure they could date some guys that are younger than them. Like many of them brag about, I got this younger guy. He's like barely 22. Got this younger guy. Those guys will never stay with these women, right? Whereas for younger women who might be 22, going for say a 52-year-old guy, she's not just looking at that guy to bang him. She's looking at him as a long-term partner. That's why women tend to date older.
And now, on top of that, a lot of guys who are interested in being in committed relationships have probably already settled down.
Yeah.
So you are left with people on the apps, at least, who just are not willing to put in time and effort and commit to somebody.
Well, not to not to no 38-year-old woman. Yeah.
So I've actually found dating a really, really toxic environment overall for women in their 30s.
Yeah, guys will commit to it. It doesn't mean they won't commit. They just won't commit to a 38-year-old woman. It's kind of like, a guy is not going to commit to buying, a 1990s old-ass friggin' Honda Civic hatchback. No, not when he can get the 2023 model. Right? Doesn't mean he's not committing to buying a car. He just wants the car that he wants.
I think that differs also by region. I think the cities like San Francisco and New York are much more open-minded about this. I've had a lot of friends tell me it is a little bit better because people are more mature and people are also more open-minded.
Not true. I am from San Francisco. I am a native of San Francisco. I was born and raised in San Francisco. It is not as open-minded as you would like to think. Right, it's a very closed-minded city in many ways. It might be open-minded as far as like, yeah, LGBTQR, sleep with whoever you want, right? But it's very closed-minded in other ways, like especially when it comes to age and dating. It's not as open-minded as you think. Same thing with LA, right? LA, where I live now, very different. Okay, I mean it's not as open-minded as these people like to think. It's open-minded in a liberal sense. Right, in a woke sense, but even those woke people have, no, it's not as open-minded as she would like to think, where these older, like, woke guys will date, like, a 48-year-old female. Those guys want, like, young women, too.
About dating people who are older, because people who live in cities generally settle down later. However, as I've mentioned some of you, I am in Raleigh-Durham area.
Woo.
So that is
Shout out Raleigh.
What I could say second-tier city that's still very southern, very traditional in a lot of ways. And I do notice that most of the couples here have met and known each other and gotten married in their often early 20s to at most like late 20s.
That's what you're supposed to do.
So when you're on the apps in this area, generally speaking, all the people who, again, wanted to be in serious relationships are off of the apps at that point. This isn't meant to be a downer. It's just a practical reminder to people that age does matter, and unfortunately, dating is a bit of a numbers and odds game, and if you're dealing with a lower pool to begin with, that's going to make dating harder.
Yeah, it's definitely an odds game, and your odds as a female gets noticeably worse the longer you stay out there on the casino floor. This is why you want to go to a cashier and turn in your chips, and we'll leave the casino while you still can, while you still have your shirt on your back.
I like you. I like you too. But here we go. I'm just not ready for like a long-term kind of a thing, because you're still trying to find yourself and you have a lot of things that you want to work on, and you don't want to get distracted from your career. Yes, that's exactly. How'd you know that's what I was gonna say? Oh, I don't know, just a hunch. Wow, we're so like in tune with each other.
Yeah, and this is something that you'll hear more and more as a female. The longer you stay out there, you're gonna deal with more and more rejection, heartbreak, upset, disappointment. The longer you stay out there. And the longer you lose your power, right? I mean, it's no different like being Superman, and you're starting to lose your powers. First, you lose your ability to fly, and then you lose your ability to do the little X-ray thing, and then you lose your ability to, punch through a wall. I mean, you start to just lose your power out there, right? This is why you don't want to stay out there. Trust me, it's very cold out there. I mean, especially these days with dating apps, the speed of the way things move, right? And I say this as somebody who's been out there as long as I have, and have been teaching pickup artistry as a professional coach now for the last 3 decades. I've seen so many changes in the dating landscape, none more than in the less than 10 years, probably less than 10 years. Things have changed so much with social media and technology, and the ability to video chat with people, FaceTime, whatever you want to call it. It's changed the dating landscape so much. And for people who've been in relationships for more than 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, when they get out of it thinking they could just leave their marriage or the relationship and the grass is going to be like blooming when they get out for them. No, they're all just terrorized by how the speed of the game. It's insane, right? It's like old pickup buddies of mine that I used to do game with, just even back in like 2008, 2009, back in those mystery method days. have been in long-term relationships. Some of them got married. Some of them envy the fact that I'm still out there doing game and pickup and teaching. And they're like, hey, how is it, man? Sometimes I miss it. I'm like, don't worry about it, dude. You're doing good. You don't want to come back out, right? You don't want to come out of retirement, man. Stay where you are. All right. I mean, I've been doing this long enough. This is just reality for me. But for anybody who's been in a safe, comfy relationship, it's like being in a safe, nice, like luxury apartment or hotel, and then like walking out into the blizzard cold in the snow. It's not for everybody. So that's why I always tell these women, even the women in my own family, my own sisters, I've said, cash it in while you're still young, right? Find a good guy in your 20s. Don't stay out there beyond the age of 30, because it's gonna be like playing a video game on elite mode, right? Just insane hard mode. As always, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Anything you would like to add, anything you would like to share, please drop them in the comments below. And love to see you guys in my comments. Drop them below. As always, this is M from the 33 Secrets. Don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell for me as well. Helps me out a ton with the YouTube algorithm, so do it for the algorithm. And if you want to support my work and everything I'm teaching you here, the best way to support me is to simply jump into 7 months to mastery. Right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons from me, so take advantage of it. All you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I'll see you in my next coaching video. I'm out.